Hey everyone, so I figured today we would do something fun and different and relaxed because I'm planning to film a few videos today, and I was like, since it is Pride Month, what I'm going to do is do fun rainbow Pride inspired makeup. I figured we'd do a kind of like little sort of get ready with me kind of thing. So 1, you can see how I do my makeup. 2, you can see my makeup free face, if that's not too shocking for you guys. And I don't know, I just kind of want to show you this sort of side of me a little bit. A few of you have been asking lots of questions about like what makeup I use and my makeup kind of technique, and also just for makeup videos as well. Hopefully for you guys who aren't even interested in makeup, we'll be at least talking about some interesting stuff, and you can kind of take it as a sort of art process video type thing, because that's the fun thing about makeup. It is a very artistic process, and that's what I enjoy about it. For me, it's not about changing the way I look or trying to hide anything. It's about having fun and creating something fun on my face. So I always start off with a little bit of primer, and I always just apply this with my fingers. So always make sure you wash your hands first. I know it's a silly thing, but some people might forget. And if you don't, that's how you can spread lots of bacteria around your face, and that's how you end up with spots, or one of the reasons. This primer I'm using is just the Berchem Flawless Original Primer. It's decent, it's okay. It's not my absolute favourite primer. That would probably be one of the NYX ones. That one is amazing because it's kind of like a pore filler as well, if that makes sense. So it really, really smooths out your skin. And I find I can just wear that primer on its own and it just kind of helps soften my skin a bit. This primer is a decent one, but doesn't really do much on its own. It just holds the makeup in place is all. But it is cruelty-free and it is very affordable and it is vegan. So if, like me, you care about that kind of stuff, check it out. Next up, with a damp makeup sponge, I am going to apply a layer of foundation. Some people like to wait until the end to do this, but because I'm going to be doing a slightly like bolder, bigger eye makeup look, I'm going to put my foundation on first so I'm not kind of like messing up the shape of the eyeshadow once it's already on there. It makes sense to me. This might not be what everyone does, but it's what I like to do. So this is the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation in F5, I think the shade is. It's probably a little pale for me at the minute. Actually, no, it's not looking too bad. But I've been out in the sun a little bit recently and I do tend to tan quite a lot. It's been my favourite foundation for about 18 months now, and when I'm doing videos, this is the one I use. Always blend it in with a like damp makeup sponge. This one, I can't remember the brand of it, but it's one that one of you guys sent me, and it's absolutely incredible. Also worth mentioning that all the products I'm going to be using in this video today are cruelty-free. I think most of them are vegan, which is very, very important to me when I'm buying makeup. This foundation, like I say, is full coverage, so it's a little thicker than anything I'd wear day to day. Actually, yeah, now I'm putting it on, you can see that it's currently too pale for my skin, but it's all I currently have, and chances are I'm going to lose my tan soon anyway, so. I mean, this is England, since when does the sun ever stay out? So like I say, this is full coverage foundation, so it's a little thicker than I would normally wear for like everyday life or going out anywhere. I literally bought this and only wear it to be on video, because when you're on video, these cameras show up every single one of your flaws, but you can get around that by using a good full coverage foundation, getting some really good lights with a nice softbox, which I've got up here, and also on top of this, using a really good baking powder, some kind of translucent face powder anyway. This one's my favourite, it's the Obsession Baking Powder in Transparent. I'll talk more about that when I use it at the end, but that combined with the softbox and the full coverage foundation just makes my skin look way smoother and softer and kind of blows out any flaws so you don't notice them. Or at least the main flaws anyway. And then a little bit on my neck to blend it out, because otherwise with my tan, my face and neck are going to look different colours. I always find putting down this first layer is probably one of the most time consuming bits, because I always spend a long time blending and really patting it all in and making sure I've got a really good even coverage. If you spend a long time doing this, it will make everything else so much easier, because it stops your foundation looking cakey, it stops it looking too silly, it stops it looking uneven. Oh, that's a big crybaby. You okay? Oh. You getting ready for a snack? Yeah? Bless her. About time for a midday snack. Okay, snack break. Before I get any further, I'm actually just going to take the jumper off because it's quite warm in here. Just before I throw this away, actually, not throw this away, you know, throw it over there. If you are interested, this is my very, very cute Jelly Boy merch. It's a little jellyfish hand-drawn by me. That's available in my merch store at the minute. Or if you prefer octopuses, there's an octopus version as well, and a bunch of other cool designs. So, very, very proud of that merch. I love it. And those hoodies are my absolute favourite thing that I wear constantly. So, you know, Shameless self-promotion. Next up, we are going to do brows because I never quite feel together without my brows done. This is just, I don't know, a really weird personal thing, but I do find it kind of like draws my face together and kind of gives me a lot more structure. So I'm using a little brow pomade here. This is a Makeup Obsession one, I think. Yep. And it's in the shade Blonde, I think. For a while I was using like dark brown and brown brow pomades and brow shades and brow powders and everything. But once I stopped dyeing my hair dark, it made me look very, very silly to have dark brows. So I had to like be like, well, I should probably get something that matches my natural hair colour. And this blonde shade is the best one that I found. So how I like to do my brows is like, I draw like along the bottom line of the brows and get that shape right, and then fill upwards from there, if that makes sense. So I do it on both brows. The idea for me behind doing my brows is just to give them a little more shape and structure and make them a little more distinctive and less messy looking. I don't like to overfill my brows. I hate when people do that thing where they kind of brush up their brows. I just don't like how that looks. I'm sure some people do, it's just a matter of preference, isn't it? But this is just how I like to do mine. Also, never use too much product either, so I just try and keep them quite light. There have definitely been times when I've gone way too heavy on the product, and looking back at photos, I'm just like, oh God, what was I thinking, or what was I doing? It can be difficult to see in the moment sometimes, like what you're doing wrong, or how you might be overfilling or whatever. Which is why I quite like to look back at old photos and kind of reassess my makeup and try and learn from that in the future, you know? Sometimes when you look at your makeup after you've done something, you can be like, yeah, well, I know how hard I worked on this, so I'm really, really proud of it and I'm really happy with it. And it's only when you go back like a few months later when you've forgotten that feeling, you can be really objective about it and be properly critical of yourself. I always try and keep it lighter towards the inside. I don't know how well I do with that, but it's my intention. I'm slowly getting better at it, I think. Because you have to remember your hair is already more sparse here than it is out here, so you want to kind of try and reflect that when you're applying the product, and you don't end up with really boxy brows. At least, hope you don't. I'm trying not to, that's, yeah. Next up, I'm going to take a tiny little Baba blending sponge and I'm going to apply over both my eyes a white eyeshadow primer. So this basically gives me a really nice even white base to work on. Because I'm going to be applying rainbow colours like this, you really want them to pop and stand out. So using a white base really, really helps with that. If you just kind of apply it to your eye as it is, you might not end up with even coverage, it might not last very well. And without the white base, your skin tone is probably going to show through and slowly like muddy the colours a little bit. Like it doesn't matter how pale or dark your skin is, the skin tone itself doesn't matter, but without a white base, the bright colours might not show up so much. So regardless of your skin tone, I recommend using one of these. And I admit, this is going to look silly for now, but you'll see. Makes a lot of sense. I would say, if anything, over apply this, because you can always go back and basically cover it up later with foundation and whatever. And also, because I'm going to be applying it under the eye as well, you want to make sure it's under there. I'm also fully aware I probably look a bit like a clown right now. If any of you comment you do normally, I will giggle. Okay, there we go. And from here, I'm going to start applying the eyeshadows. So for this, I've brought a selection of little small brushes in. So these ones are all quite round brushes with small pointed tips, so I can apply the eyeshadow kind of like in a dabbing motion to the eye. That means it's going to be kind of like packed on there, it's going to be bold, it's going to be bright, and then with bigger, fluffier brushes, I can work on blending the colours together. So I think what I've done before when I've done this is I've started with yellow in the inner eye and worked out, but I think for something different today, I'm going to start with red and work out. So yellow is going to be the kind of bold bit in the middle. We'll see. That said, I'm going to start by applying the yellow first because it's the lightest colour, the brightest, and I don't want to risk muddying it on my eye. So the palette that I'm using for this is the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, this one, which is one that I've spoken about and used a lot before. This is my favourite palette for like bold, bright colours. I'm going to keep this aside and keep this clean and only have yellow on this because I may need to use that later and I don't want to essentially like, I don't know, tarnish it. Next we can go in with a bit of orange. Again, start by just packing this on and slowly you can start to blend them together a little. But the blending isn't too essential here, we can work on that. . Okay, now I'm taking a little yellow on the same brush that I've applied the orange with and starting to blend them together a little bit. And once I've done a kind of layer of yellow, trying to blend it that way, I'll go back in with some orange and blend it the other way, until hopefully you start to see a fairly smooth gradient. At this point I'm going to go in with some red, right in the corner of the eye here. It's a slightly more pinky red. That's fine because it means it's going to work with the pink I'm going to be using on the out a bit of the eye. Again, start by just packing in colour. And at this point start thinking about the shape you want the eyeshadow to take. So I'm going to be doing quite a bold wing. I'm not sure if I want a kind of blended edge or a smooth edge at the minute. I don't know. We'll figure that out. And then with the orange, just start to blend the orange and red together. Again, you can alternate between packing on orange and red and blending them together just until you get the kind of gradient you want. The key to this is just to take your time and go really slow and deliberate. Don't rush it. Okay, so after yellow, we're going to go into green, blue, and then a purpley pink on the edge. So let's start with, let's just go for this kind of foresty green colour. At this point I'm going to go back to this yellow brush here that's only had yellow on it and just bring the yellow up a little on this side. And now with the same brush I'm going to go in with the blue. And at this point I'm starting to think about the shape of the wing that I want to do. Now back to the green and blend those together a little. And now finally, one last brush, I'm going to go in with purple, slightly pinky purple. Back to this brush and I'm going to go back in with the blue and blend some blue out to purple. Actually as well, I'm going to add in a slightly darker blue to make this transition a little better. The other blue I used I feel was a little too green, a little too turquoise. I'm going to take a soft brush and kind of blend out this edge a little bit up here. Okay, underneath I could do a replica of the top thing, but instead I'm going to add some kind of hot fuchsia pink to blend between the purple and the red. I'm going to go back to the red that I had. So now if you want an idea of how long that took in real time, that was probably about 25 minutes to half an hour, something like that. So now you can probably see there's still some white areas as well. I'm gonna take the makeup sponge that I had the foundation on. I'm just gonna put a tiny, tiny drop of foundation on there, not much at all. We're talking like this much, tiny, tiny amount. I'm gonna kind of basically go over the edges and just get rid of any of the white primer that's left. There we go. So now with that, I am gonna go and add some eyeliner. If I can find where my eyeliner is. There we go. So my favorite eyeliner, and again, it has been for about 2 years now, is this little Revolution. I don't know what name it is, but it looks like a little gold pen, basically. And it's got a little brush nib, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, mine is running out, and I can't replace it at the moment because lockdown and getting places is hard and most places are shut and it feels really frivolous to go out just to buy eyeliner. But this eyeliner, when I first bought it, was about £4. I think maybe it's gone up to about £6 now because, you know, inflation, it happens. But I swear, it is wonderful. And again, cruelty-free. So I'm going to start by drawing a really, really tight line, a thin, thin black line, the length of my, like just above my lashes on my eyelid. Does that make sense? So as close to the lashes as possible. All the way into the lower corner. Now I'm just going to add a small flick. Basically the way I do this is a little bit weird and I don't know if other people do this, but this is what makes sense to me. I basically stamp where I want the angle of the wing to be with the flat edge of my brush like this, and then I just draw a swooping line to join it to the rest of the eye. I hope that makes sense. I don't really know how else to describe it. It just kind of works for me a little bit, but I'm no eyeliner expert. So there's the stamp. Close enough, and then swoop. And then if your eyeliner is new and not drying up like mine, you won't have any gaps, but once it's getting a little old like mine is, you can just go in and fill in any little gaps that it's left. And that's my eyeliner. I actually think I am gonna add lashes to this look. Yeah, let's do that. And for that, I'm gonna use a magnetic liner. So you can use this without eyeliner, but I'm not a huge fan of this particular magnetic liner. I don't know what the brand is because I can't find it and I threw away the box, but the lashes are wonderful. The liner, not so great. So I like to have a base for actual liner underneath. So how these work is the lashes contain these little mini magnets along the edge of them. This eyeliner is just a simple black eyeliner. I do like the brush though. The brush is great, very precise, very small. And you just apply it, it's black like eyeliner, and it's got weird little shards of like magnetic metal-y stuff in it, which weirdly is eye safe, apparently. Don't ask me, don't quote me on that. But I have got it in my eye before and it's not causing any problems or hurt or irritation. I just washed it out, it was fine. Not saying that's true of all brands, but whatever this one is, it was fine. I had another one before that the eyeliner was even better, but I tried a different brand and it's not as good. I'm rambling. Okay, not the point. Anyway, yeah, you just apply it like normal eyeliner, wait for it to dry, and then the lashes stick to it like magnets. It means you can get really precise application of where the lashes go. They last for ages, they're easy to take off. Wonderful, I love it. I'm going to be using new lashes today though, and I have really tiny eyes, so let me get some scissors because I need to trim them down. So I don't know if you can tell the difference here, but this is a lash that I've trimmed and this is one we haven't. And that's kind of the difference in my eye size. Literally, like, and if you can see this, but this is how much I had to cut off. Like, there's a good, I don't know, 2 centimeters there. I have tiny eyes, okay? Tiny. Teeny tiny. Magnetic eyeliner. Give it a little shaky shake. Say a technical term right there. Then I'm just gonna apply it literally over where I put the eyeliner. The important thing though is to only put this where you want the eyelashes to stick. So don't fill in the wing with this stuff unless you want your eyelashes to potentially end up being attached to up here, which you don't want to do. And now just sit and wait for a couple of minutes for that to dry. It's generally really quick drying, so it doesn't take long. And then with that, you can just position your eyelashes. They literally just pop on with little magnets. It's great. You can use a little like applicator thing for this, but I just like to use my fingers. I find it can be quite precise. There you go. Simple as that. Amazing. Okay, now onto face. Let's finish this up. First up, I'm going to apply a little of the Obsession baking powder all over my face and kind of buff it in a little bit to create this nice kind of smooth canvas to work on. This stuff does get everywhere, but it's amazing. So I only use a little bit and I apply it in a kind of like dabbing it on kind of motion and then buff it in like this. This also, I found, is what stops me looking too shiny on camera. Oh, the other thing I completely forgot actually before we carry on with that, I always take a little mascara and blend my actual lashes into the false lashes. This mascara is a Soap and Glory one. It's the Thick and Fast high definition one. It's a fantastic, fantastic mascara and I love it, but it's not cruelty free. I only have this because I was given it. Not by like PR or anything, it's just a gift from a friend. All right, back to the face powder. If I'm wearing a lower top like this, I like to bring a little of the powder down just onto the rest of my skin, just to make sure I look a little more even all over. God, my face does look so pale compared to my body at the minute. Damn tanning. All I have to do is be out in the sun for like half an hour and I tan so easily. Alright, now I'm going to take a brush and do a little bit of contouring to bring a little bit of the colour back to my face. I don't always do this, but thanks to me currently having quite a pale face, I will. Also, it just adds a little definition. So this is, God, this is really old now. I don't even contour anymore. This is so old. I haven't used it in forever. But this is like a Maybelline Master Sculpt contouring thing. I got this way before I started like looking into cruelty-free products and stuff like that. So again, this one isn't, annoyingly, but it's the only contouring anything I own. So I just apply a little to my cheeks, basically to try and define them a little bit and bring it up a little bit, but also just to add a little bit of colour. Make sure you don't go too dark or too heavy, and no harsh lines either. Okay, up in the hairline. This also helps me cover up my blonde roots. And hopefully stops my forehead looking quite so big. There we go. And now finally, a little bit of blush. For this, I'm using a little Revolution blush palette. This is called Hot Spice. Ooh. And a round fluffy brush. Probably want something quite bright with this makeup, so I'm going to go for this pinky colour here. Mix it a little. These two. I'm going to use these two a little bit. Mix them. And then just dab. And blend. Again, I always go for way more blush on camera than I would wear in real life. So this is already far too much real life for me, but on camera, you can still barely see it. I always just blend out and up in little circles. There we go. Next up, I'm going to line my lips with this. It's my like little go-to lip liner. This is the Berchem Let's Be Clear Lip Fixer. And basically, it's kind of like a clear lip liner that you can use with any lipstick or lip gloss or liquid lipstick, anything you want. And it's completely clear, so you can't see it. It just stops your lipstick from bleeding at all. Or like feathering or whatever. Because if you're starting to get a little bit older like me, you'll notice the teeny tiniest little wrinkles starting to appear around your lips. And if you don't use a lip liner like this, which stops it, your lip colour will start to kind of feather and spread a little bit. And you'll see the colour going up into your little wrinkles around your lips. And it's subtle, but up close, it looks really silly. And now, because this is such a bold, flamboyant eye makeup look, I'm going to go for a bold, flamboyant pink lip. This is a bright, bold, beautiful fuchsia pink. It's actually a Primark lipstick. Liquid lipstick, sorry. Oh my god, look at that colour. This is so pink, I love it. This was part of a little set of like 4 tropical themed, I don't know what that was, liquid lipsticks. So I can't give you an exact shade for this. But it's adorable and I really like this formula. I find when you're applying liquid lipsticks, best thing to do is smile as you're applying them so you can see the natural shape of your mouth and follow that, and you don't miss out any like lines or anything where there's no product. Also make sure you don't go too far into the corners of your mouth, because then when your mouth is closed, you can get a little kind of like podgy bit of I guess like colour kind of here, and it makes you look a little like the Joker, I'll be honest. There we go. I'm quite happy with this makeup. This is done. I am now going to get out my straighteners. It's a little intimidating. These are just some Nikki Clark Frizz Control straighteners. I've had them for years now, and they are absolutely fantastic. I'm going to do something with all this hair. It has been washed and air dried and treated with a heat protecting spray. So, yeah. Let's just go for some like loose curls or something. My hair's also in desperate need of a cut, especially this front bit. It's just got no shape at the minute. So generally once I've curled my whole head of hair, I'll go through and pick out tiny little parts, like literally a few little strands, and curl them right from the top of my head to try and add a little bit more volume. Then when I feel like I've done enough and I've let it cool for a couple of minutes, so I know the curls are kind of like holding, I start to brush my fingers through and kind of break up some of the curls and make it a lot more softer. And hopefully slightly more natural looking. But yeah, that is pretty much me done. I'm terrible with ending videos, so let's just end it here. If you want to see the videos that I make following this, wearing this that I'm about to go film now, then make sure you subscribe and hit the little notification bell so you can always stay on top of my new uploads. I don't really have a schedule, so that way is the best way to stay informed about when I'm making videos about all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah. Shameless self-promotion over. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this makeup look if you're going to be trying it yourself, and if you do, please feel free to tag me on social media in your post because I would love to see what you do. And until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon.